Hey, this is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and if you watch my box openings, you know that I'm part of a lot of subscriptions, and one of my subscriptions is the Precuts Quilt Box, and they have two different ones, and I'm the Stash Builder. In Stash Builder, you get fabrics, you get a pattern, and you get a notion or a tool or something like that. The other one, you get more notions and tools in it, and less fabric. It's still a lot of fabric, but it's a little bit less, so I went with Stash Builder. But anyway, this was the first one I got, and I wanted to put this, I utilized the fabrics, it's all these fabrics here, the fat quarters, and then I wanted to make the quilt that came with it. So the quilt that came with it is called Moroccan Tile. It was designed by Diana Bedell, and it's published by Precuts Quilt Box. So I can't find this pattern for you to buy. So it must be exclusive to this box. Now, when I read the description, it doesn't say that it's an exclusive pattern, but it must be because I can't find this pattern anywhere. But if you notice, I did something a little different. This is a tile pattern, and I did not make this a tile because I wanted the design to go together. I didn't want anything in between my designs. So I took the grout lines out of it, which actually makes it an easier quilt to put together. But what I'm mostly going to show you today is the pattern tells you how to make half square triangles, but whenever you see half square triangles, especially a lot of them that have the same background on the back of it, and you hear me with this paper here, half square triangles on a roll are the way to go, and they have these in like 1 inch to maybe 6 or 7 inch sizes. This was the 4-inch size that I used, and I made every one of these half square triangles with this paper. And if you're scared of paper piecing or you've never done it, don't be. This is a great way to learn how to paper piece too. So today I'm going to just kind of walk you through how to read the papers, how to use the papers, and how beautiful these blocks come out. I do have a problem with when I make half square triangles, when you do the diagonal and you sew on either side of the line, some of them just don't end up that square. This comes out beautifully square, just beautifully. I mean, these points are just gorgeous. So if you have a lot of half square triangles you're doing that have, you know, several of them or all of them have backgrounds that are the same, this is the way to go, and I'm going to show you how to use it. So I wish I could tell you where to find this pattern, but I looked for it. Oops, upside down. I looked for it, and I can't find it for sale. But I will have the Precuts Stash Builder link down below if you want to check it out and see if that's something you'd like to get. Or you can watch one of my videos. I'll link one of my videos down below where I open the box and you can see. But anyway, this is what the paper looks like. I'm going to take you down and we're going to take a look at how to use this. And I'll have a link to these down below too. Like I said, you can get them in all sorts of sizes. You can also get like flying geese. I call it the monkey wrench pattern. Diamonds in a square. They just have a ton of these, and it really does make a very square block, makes it a lot easier, and it is a great way to learn how to paper piece. So anyway, let me show you my quilt. All right, I'm getting set up for my very first Precuts Quilt Box pattern that they sent to me. This was a box opening I did about a month ago. It's the very first one I got from Precuts Quilt Box, and I like the pattern, I like the fabric, so I'm going to put it together. And it's nothing but half square triangles with little strips in between, so it looks like tile. So I decided I'm going to use triangles on a roll. I'm going to paper piece all of these, and I'm going to show you how these work. So I ordered these. I don't remember how many are on here. There is a ton of them on here, and it was like $12 or $13 for this entire roll. I think I counted that I need 211 half square triangles. something like that. This is my background. Where it's white on this one, I bought Peony. I got this from Fat Quarter Shop on their Basic of the Month sale in August. It's confetti cottons. And that's going to be my background. I think it's going to be really pretty. But anyway, I wanted to show you how I organized myself here. It's based on, for each fat quarter, how many half square triangles I'm going to need from each one. So let me get set up and I'll show you how I've cut them so that I can get these made on the paper pieces. Alright, just to give you an idea of how I'm doing this. This is the fabrics, this is the number 8, where I need 16 half square triangles. I have 3 fabrics here. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So from here to here is the half square triangles I need. I'm just going to cut above this line. Set this aside. This is what I need. And I just need fabric to cover it. Let's just set that in the middle to hold it down. I'm just going to cut around it. Cut all 3 fabrics. I don't even need to cut these small strips off. Those will get cut off later. Alright, so I need 16. I've got 16 here. I've got everything cut. And I'm just going to do this. That easy. Then I can set this aside for something else I want to do. Don't want those little fabrics. Also, don't forget that you need, since I have 3 fabrics, I need 3 papers. So just because you're cutting all 3 fabrics at once with 1 paper doesn't mean you can use the 1 paper. You're going to need 3 of them. So alright, I'm at cutting of the background, I guess. And I have 4 different, or 3, no, this one has 3 different fabrics, fat quarters, so I need 3 cuts that's going to fit this. So it's 10.5 inches wide, because that's what triangles on a roll tells us. So, and like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect. This isn't straight, but I'm just going to go to 10.5. Flip that over. Come on, Carrie. And I'm going to cut 10.5. All I have to do then, I'm going to cut off the selvage. Lay this on here. Oh my gosh. There's nothing left, so I'm just going to cut it right there. It's a little long, but that is fine. So, since it's folded, that's 2. So I need 1 more cut. So I'll do a 10.5 inch and do the same thing. Alright, I got all my papers, I got all my fabrics cut. This is how much of my roll I have left, so I have quite a bit left. This is how much of the fat quarters I have left. That's a decent amount. And this is what I have left in my background. So wow, that was really easy to cut. You don't have to be so precise, you just have to be a little bit bigger than your piece of paper. So here's my backgrounds cut and my fabrics. You saw me cut those, and all the papers I need for each one of my fabrics. So each one of these fat quarters is going to get paired with a background. I will, full disclosure, show you something that I did. The 10 and the 12. I just cut on the wrong, I cut the wrong way, I guess, on the fat quarter. So to get enough, I had to use the smaller sections that were left. So all I did was I cut down the center here, cut right on that line so that I have just half of this here, so I could fit the cuts that I had left out of those fat quarters. So that's about the only thing I did. It's not a problem. I still have enough. I did the same thing with the 12. which I think I would have had to anyway, because I need 24 of them, and I couldn't fit. I don't think I could have. I might have, but anyway, I chose the short end of the fat quarter to start cutting on. But it's not a problem. I'm just using half of a roll, so. All right, I have assembled all my fat quarters and the background. I put them right sides together, and then on the back of my fat quarter, I laid my triangles on a roll. And you want to make sure that all these solid lines on the outside here, the fabric extends that so that you're covered on the inside. So that's about as easy as it gets. And now we can just sew these up and get perfect half square triangles. So to get started with this, all we need to do now is take it to our machine and start sewing on the lines. And I'll show you that. For anybody who's new with this, I'll show you that. But just to reiterate, all these solid lines I have here are covered with both the fabrics. And I have my fabrics right sides together. So that's the biggest thing, is make sure all your solid lines have both fabrics covered, so that we make sure that when we cut on these solid lines, we're good. All right, I'm gonna get to sewing. Got a lot of sewing here. All right, I'm over here at my machine, and just want to show you how the triangles on a roll work when you're actually at the machine. So I've got one of my bigger pieces, the let's see, 12-piece half square triangle. And you're just going to get set up at your machine with a short stitch length. Like I have, my normal stitch length is like 2 1/4. I have it at 1 1/2. So you want to reduce it to that. And then we're sewing on the dotted lines and we're following the arrows. And it's that simple. So let's get started here. You want to make sure before you get started that all your material is on the outside of the solid lines. And I'm good, so. All right, so I don't really sew this fast. I've sped up the video just a little bit, but I'm following the dotted lines, following the arrows, cutting my thread when I get to the end, turning it, and then just following the arrows again. So you're going to come to a point here where we have to turn our fabric and go to the other side and do the other arrows. That's right here. And that's going to lead us to an inside point on our half square triangles. And all I did was come to the solid line there at the end, put needle down, turn my fabric, and keep on sewing. So, not hard, a lot of fun, beautiful points in the end, nice square blocks. I love this paper piecing. And look at that. I'm all done. Yeah, I have a late thread. I don't know if you can see it. So I can take the pins out of this, set it aside, and we'll be ready to cut it up later. All right, I got all my pieces sewn up. I don't know, it might have taken me about 45 minutes. Probably hard to see the seams. Now we just got to cut all these things apart. And I'm going to cut on the solid lines. Cut the outside solid lines first. All right, again, I sped this video up. I really don't cut this fast, but I just wanted to show you the process of cutting all these out. Super important to remember solid lines. That's where you want to cut, the solid lines. I've done it before where I haven't cut on the solid lines. And so this paper piecing makes it really easy. And I'm cutting each individual one apart now, and then I'm going up the center. And then I get my 2 half square triangles there. I used these in my Massachusetts State block when I built that, and they were 1 inch finished, and it just made it so much easier. I'll link that right above here if you want to take a look at that. There were 56 1 inch half square triangles in a 12-inch block. Oops. There we go. Look at that. Now we need to iron them. There's only half the triangle to pull off. We have ourselves a half square triangle. Right, I'm going to get them all cut up. All right, so getting these ironed. Got my pile here to iron. These are ironed. And one thing I found was when I was laying these out before paper piecing, I laid out my background down first, face up. Then I put my fat quarter pieces on top of that, face down, and then I put my paper on. So all of my pieces have, the fat quarter side has the paper and the background does not. So they're all going to be ironed, in my case, towards the background. And I'm leaving the paper on, which gives it a much better stiffness to push it over to get it ready to iron. And when it's done, everything's flat here, so you don't have to fight with pulling the seam back. So I just wanted to let you know that's how it's working for me. And I unintentionally did that where I have, and it's not a problem because I have this pink background. If it was white, it might be an issue. You could see the seams, but it just happened to work out that way because in the pattern they just tell you to iron towards the dark fabric. They have a white background, so it would always be ironed towards the fat quarter anyway. Mine's just ironed towards the background. But I don't know, I'd recommend leaving the papers on as you iron because it just gives you that stiffness to fold it over and flatten that seam out. There we go. I got all my pieces ironed. They're all ironed to the pink, which was away from the paper, which I found very helpful. Now I'm going to pull the papers off. And if you did the stitch, if you turn down your stitch, then it makes it easy to tear it off. And it actually may be easier to pull the bigger piece off first. Yeah. Oops, and then this piece should kind of just fall off. There we go. So maybe just like fold your paper back like you would on perforated paper, like for a bill or something, like those old-timey bills we used to get in the mail. And then just peel it off. We get perfect half square triangles. And there we go. As I was pulling my papers off, I just put them in piles of the matching fat quarters. So now what I'm going to do is go to my design wall, just use this, put it together, and remember, I haven't cut the grout lines, or the sashings, whatever you want to call them. I don't think I'm going to, but once I get on my design wall and look at it, I'll see if I want to at that time. But that's where I'm headed. Let's put this thing together. And here it is all put together. Since this is a video I wanted to do about half square triangles and triangles on a roll, and you can't buy the pattern, so I just didn't want to show like putting it together, I guess. But it's all done. Look at those points. Those points are beautiful because you're taking, those squares are so square when you're done paper piecing that when they go together you just get these just absolutely gorgeous points. And because of the paper piecing, all the seams are kind of ironed towards the same way, and it just makes for a really great way to put together a quilt if you have a lot of half square triangles. And that's all this quilt is. It was just half square triangles, just with different fabrics and different placements and turned different ways. So if you're new to paper piecing, I hope this helped you out, showed you that it's not so scary. It makes for these great half square triangles, and you can find a lot of other patterns in these triangles on a roll. Also, if you want to do some different pattern paper piecing. But anyway, thanks so much for watching my video. Let me know what you think, and hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you can stick around and do all the fun stuff we got here. But anyway, I had a blast making this quilt. It turned out so pretty, and I had a blast making this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!